Gregg Riley is an executive coach who helps mid to late career professionals and leaders release the emergency brake on their lives and become a steady lighthouse that illuminates the path at work and at home. Blending time-tested Ziglar principles with modern mindset practices and small daily habits, he turns big ideas into actions you can do on a hard day. His sessions are practical, encouraging, and a little funny, so progress sticks. And you can find him in the newsletter. Click on See All and go to the bottom, and you can get a free month with it. Anyway, please welcome Gregg Riley for his presentation, Unshakeable, Clarity You Can Carry. Ta-da!
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't know how many people were going to be here. I have workbooks that can go along with it if anybody's interested. Who's interested? Anybody? Go. All right, just grab one.
Oh, yeah. Let me help you. Okay. Yeah. Just give them all to me. I'll hand them out.
Okay.
To whoever wants them. We may or may not have enough.
Yeah, we don't have enough. We don't have enough if everybody wants one.
So be nice and share with your neighbor. But I'll have it. I'll get it as a.
Yeah.
No, they've already. This is what we already did. So there'll be a PDF of it in the newsletter. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, these.
I know.
Oh, I see. Anybody? You two can share.
So while she's doing that, I'll do a little introduction about myself. My name is Gregg Riley. As you'll learn, I am not from these parts. And I haven't lived in Northeast Texas, aka Boston, in over 25 years. But the first time I came to Texas, I was living here in Round Rock, and my customer was AMD. And I had to do a meeting with them, and they said, "You're not from these parts." I said, "Yes, I am. I'm from Northeast Texas." And they're like, "Where?" I said, "Boston, Texas." And they're like, "Is there a Boston, Texas?" And I said, "Well, you guys think you own the whole country, you know, but there is a new Boston, Texas, and it is in the northeast part of the state, so it's kind of interesting."
Oh, funny. We've got every country and every major city.
Yeah. So I worked in the corporate world for a very, 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 very long time. I started out as an engineer in supercomputers and worked my way up through management in different corporations. I managed teams of a couple of hundred and managed the sales delivery of $4 billion. So I've been around the block, so to speak. I got into the corporate or executive coaching programs back in 2000. I worked for Ziglar in 2005, 2006. Personally worked for him for a year. And then I got into doing coaching of my leaders in my organizations. And then in 2021, I went full-time as an executive coach. So I've been an executive coach. All my clients have been referrals. But that's a little bit about me. I'm Ziglar Philosophies is the primary platform that I use in my coaching. And I coach all different kinds of people. One of the things I heard today was no. And you know what no means? Yeah, no. Next opportunity. Don't think of it as a negative, think of it the next opportunity. Right? Because you got to have confidence in yourself to be able to navigate this world that we're in now. I've been there. Right? I was laid off for a period of time. I applied for, I think it was like 1,500 jobs before I was able to land the next job. So I've been in your shoes. The market's a little different, but here we're going to talk about clarity, right? Creating clarity in your life. Be the lighthouse. Be calm, right? Because there are people that need you, right? I know it's hard times, but there are people that need you. And so I'm not here to talk to you about the job market. I'm talking about you and your mindset. And the way this program came about was I did a talk for the city of Allen, and one of the people in that room came up to me and said, "Can you coach my husband?" And I said, "I don't know. What's the challenges? He's been laid off, and he can't find a job. And he's really not very communicative about what's going on in his head. So I did a 30-minute call with him, talked to him about what's he trying to identify, where does he want to work. You know, clarity on what you want in your career is key to your success to finding the job you want. Right? He was very vague. I said, what do you do? I'm a software engineer. What kind of software? I work with Rust. I'm like, that sounds like an oil problem. You need to put some oil on that. And he goes, no, it's a software code. And I said, well, who would be your ideal employer? And he says, somebody who's doing Rust work. And I said, okay. So 7 weeks later, he had a job. Nice. But we navigated the mindset. We navigated his interviewing techniques and talents, and navigating his networking and how he's searching for positions. Right? The steadier the heart, the clearer the direction. So, how many of you refresh your email like you're paying rent on it? Right? You submit your job application. Nothing. And then you get ghosted, right? Because it's like 6 weeks later and you're ghosted and you're like, oh, I'm never going to have that happen again. So you want to think about you, right? And like I say here, releasing the mental drag. Right? Release your emergency brake. Go after life. Right? The windshield and the weather, right? There's the analogy of the windshield and the rearview mirror. The reason the rearview mirror is so small is because that's behind you. Can't bring it back. You can only go forward, so you get this big, huge windshield to look at and navigate your life, right? And you control the clarity of that windshield and where you're going. Zig Ziglar said, it's not what happens to you that determines how far you'll go in life. It's how you handle what happens to you. And Jim Rohn said, it's not the weather that's causing you not to get where you're going. It's how you set the sail. So if you set the sail right, you'll go in the direction that you need to go in. So I want to do this. I want you to think for a minute, right? So Tony Robbins said, emotion creates motion. So we're going to do a quick little exercise, all right? The exercise is simple. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, yes. Okay? And I want you to give me a solid yes. So an example would be 1, 2, 3, yes! So now I want all of you. Ready? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, yes! That's probably a 7. Do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, yes! This is a simple little exercise. You're getting ready for an interview. You're getting ready to make that call, right? You're breaking out of your shell and you want to go talk to somebody. 1, 2, 3, yes! Before you do it. You'll be more energized. You'll be more engaged. And you'll be able to be more successful at the content you're trying to get accomplished or the interview you're trying to get done. So there's a reset button, right? And in this reset button, things that you can do internally for yourself. Right? First one is hydrate. Make sure you're drinking water, not beer, not vodka, right? But water, right? Make sure you're hydrating yourself. Observe your state of mind. Right? How are you feeling in this moment? Right? Think about that every time you're getting into an interaction with people. Whether it's networking, job interview, or just hanging out with people. Think of your state of mind. And how can you navigate that to change it and make it more positive? I just gave you a simple exercise. 1, 2, 3, yes. Right? Or you can do pattern interruptions. Tony Robbins used to give out these wristbands, these rubber wristbands, and that was his way of doing pattern interruptions. You get yourself in a mindset and you'd pull on the wristband and it would snap. And you go, oh, yeah. But you got to recognize it first. And then take one step, one action a day, right, towards what you're trying to get accomplished. I mean, how many times you sit there and you're just lolling around, you're like, oh, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to apply for this job? This might not be my job. Do I really want to talk to that person? Do it. The worst you can get is next opportunity. But you won't get the next opportunity if you don't take the actions. And the other thing you want to get clear on, and we'll go into this more detail, is identifying a goal or an objective. Because if you don't have a goal, as Ziglar used to say, you can't hit the target if you don't know what the target is. So this is a wheel of life. I do this with all of my clients. I have a client that's a CEO of 4 companies and does, I don't know how many millions and billions of dollars he does. But he was referred to me and I said, let's do a wheel of life. And he did the wheel of life, and his family was low and his personal was low. But his finances were out of this world. He didn't have a good relationship with his 3 boys, all under the age of 7. Like, I don't know what he's expecting for a relationship, but he didn't have a great relationship with his 3 boys. And he certainly didn't have a relationship with his wife. As a matter of fact, he hired his wife 3 times and fired her 3 times. Oh my God. So I want you to take a minute, on a scale of 1 to 10, rate yourself in each of these areas. Use a level of integrity. If you need examples of what each spoke might mean to you, just ask the question. If you're not a spiritual person, think of character. Think of spirit as character, spiritual. What kind of character do you have? Are you a caring person? Are you a grumpy person? Okay. I have my sister, Grumpy Joe. Nothing in her life ever seems to be right. So what area do you think is your lowest? Career? Career for people, yeah? Yeah. But are you rocking it physically?
What is personal?
Personal is family, friends. Not family. Personal is more about you as a person and how you interact with others. If you're, it's not your character, but it's focused on your mind development, and do you navigate, personally, do you navigate your mental and physical, but personal is all about you as a person. Yes?
What does it mean, contribution?
Contribution. So a contribution could be contributing to Launchpad. A contribution could be, hey, how's it going? You doing well? Right? Tell me about the cybersecurity. That's a contribution as well, right? Caring for others. You don't. It doesn't have to be money. Do you contribute to society, or do you take away from society? Right? Good question.
Your wheel doesn't quite match the.
Huh?
Your wheel doesn't quite match the workbook.
Yeah, I know. AI challenges. I say convert this to this. So my AI clients, my AI coaching clients would be all over me with that one too. They were like, what? How come that doesn't work? The same with the next slide. Oh, no, it's the slide after that. But anyway, so when you're looking at your wheel of life and looking at the areas, and hopefully you have a high level of integrity around what you put down there. I'll go back to my CEO friend, right? Finances are off the charts. He's got a house in Alaska. He's got a house in Oklahoma. He's got a house somewhere else, right? And he was away for a few weeks, came back, and we had a coaching session. I said, how was South Africa? Because he went hunting in South Africa. He goes, oh, it was great. I said, how's the wife doing? She's out right now having drinks with a friend of hers, since I came back into town. And she's like wasting money. I said, time out, young man. You just spent how much? $20,000 to go to Africa to shoot? And you're complaining about, I use different words, but you're complaining about her drinking, having a cocktail with a friend now that you're back in town? You better rethink that vision of that relationship. So, Zig used to say, what you get by achieving goals is not as important as who you become by achieving the goals. Right? And it's all about be, do, and have. So you got to be the person that's walking into that interview and going, yes, as they walk in. I mean, you might do it in front of the interviewer and they might get, what do you mean? This is my interview. Yes. But, get that motivation up in your head that you're going to crush it. Right? So be. So be also means believe. Believe in yourself. Right? Every time you get a no, it's the worst words for a lot of people. But you got to think of it as next opportunity and believe in yourself that that's coming along. And then you got to do, right? So, like I said, you believe in yourself and then you say, yes, I can do this. And you go in and do it. And then you have, right? Be, do, have. So character comes first. Who are you as a person? How confident are you as a person? How confident are you in what you're trying to get across in any relationship? Or in anything that you're doing, personally or professionally. Right? Action. Always take action. Work towards that goal. One step. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Absolutely. Right? And then achieving your desired outcomes. What do you want? What do you want? I encourage all of you, from what I heard today, when you did your introductions, that you're not sure what you want. Well, I'm looking for this or that or the other thing. Not saying, I'm looking to be an editor or copyright expert for Architecture Digest. I don't even know if that's still in existence, but that's the first thing that came to mind in my head right here. But, cybersecurity. I'm a cybersecurity expert. I help customers with their cybersecurity needs, trying to get rid of the bad actors, right? And how to navigate that, right? And that's a very interesting field. That was the last field I was in corporate world. But, think of exactly what you want and how you want to present yourself. So, stairway to success. tried 100 times to get this right in using AI. You know, it built it right perfectly. It had this beautiful set of stairs, all nice and wood. And it had in backwards, right? It had desire at the bottom and character at the top. And I said, rewrite it, but put it in this order. And then it rewrote it, but it spelt everything wrong. It's like, forget it. I'll do it myself. So we got character, who you are, right? What bottleneck this week is keeping you holding back? Right? Character, who you are. Self-image. How do you feel about yourself? Right? If you're carrying baggage that you know, somebody said something bad to you, or you feel you were neglected, or you did something wrong when you were a kid, or a parent, or an adult, have a good conversation with yourself. One of the things I do with my clients is I say, go in the bathroom and look in the mirror. And if you did something in your life that you think was wrong or didn't go well, look yourself in the eye and say, I'm sorry, I forgive you. And do it with meaning, right? You'll be surprised how much that unloads off your shoulders. It really does. It really, really does.
Greg, I think the thing that most of the people in this room deal with is that the moment they get ghosted for something where not just that they applied, but the recruiter reached out to them and said, hey, we're going to set you up for this interview next week, and then they don't hear back.
Yeah.
That's a real blow to just everything that you're building up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that scenario sucks. Right? Plain and simple. And it's a painful thing, but you know, that's where your character, who you are, you know, it's not you, it's them.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, it's not you, it's them. And think of their character, right? Maybe that's somebody you don't even want to interact with in the future. Yeah, you said you're going to call me back. Never heard a darn thing from you, right? So then your relationships, right? So you got your character, you got your self-image, you got your relationships, right? You know, the people that support you, carry you through these tough times, right? Honor them, respect them, right? Tell them that you're really happy for what they've been doing for you. Goals, right? What are your goals? Right? And then, what's your attitude? Right? Do you guys have a dream list or a wish list or a list of things you want to achieve in life? Any of you? Oh, there's one. You know, John Goddard, he had a list of 127 things that he wrote when he was a kid.
Wow.
And some of them were pretty extravagant. Travel to the moon, visit every continent, go to Antarctica, see all the rivers. And he wrote it when he was a kid. And he achieved like almost all of them. It's because have you ever heard of the reticular activating system? All right, let me give you an example. And then you'll go, oh, that's what that is. You're looking to buy a car. Let's say a Tesla. But you don't want a white one. You want a gray one or some exotic color. And then one of two things you're going to start noticing. You're going to start noticing Teslas with that color, or you're going to start noticing other cars with that color. Right? All of a sudden, it's like your brain's looking at it and saying, oh, yeah, there's one. There goes another one. Oh, that's not a Tesla, but that's a Honda or something. It doesn't look bad. Maybe I'll look at Hondas because I like the color, not the car. But you'll see it happens all the time. As you start thinking about something, all of a sudden it starts showing up in your life. And that's the reticular activating system working in the background, helping you achieve what you want to achieve in your own head. So always think about things that you want to achieve and what's your attitude towards getting them. And then what work are you going to do to get there? And then are you going to reach your desired state, end state? Right? Desire is the drive. And then don't be drowning in shoulds. I should do this, I should do that. I should do this. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should actually. If you should all the time, it's a very messy place. Right? So don't shoulds. Turn your shoulds into do's. Or don't do's. Right? Get clarification around what's a do and what's a don't do. Is that going to help me? Is that going to move me forward? Is that going to get me towards my goals? Or not? Don't do it. Thoughts. For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. Jim Rohn said that many times. If you want something in life, you got to change yourself. It's an inner game. So take inventory of your thoughts. Right? Write down 3 reoccurring thoughts about yourself. I'm no good. No one's going to hire me. I'm the best software engineer in the country. I'm the strongest program manager in the country. I have the skill sets that I use in the restaurant business, and I can use it anywhere because I'm a logistics guru. Sure, you got to navigate how to put that into writing so that people get interested in it. That's why you go to those workshops that they have on resume writing and bypassing the job bots and all the good things that we need to do in this world today. Right? Networking, I think, is still the number one way to get a job, but we also put out a bunch of resumes and nothing happens. And I tested it. I tested it with a friend of mine. He had a job at Palo Alto Networks where I used to work. And it was my job just a year later. And when I was working with my client on trying to find a job, I threw my resume into the job search, reached out to my friend who is the hiring manager. And I said, hey, Chris, did you get my resume? He goes, no. I said, really? And then I made changes to it. Did you get it now? No. So I made more changes to it, and I used AI to redefine the pick words or whatever you want to call it. And then all of a sudden it showed up. It's like, oh man, navigating this is challenging. So leverage the experts. If you get them for free, do it. Right? Now, every reoccurring thought that you have, change it. Up to now, or no longer. Right? Up to now, I was struggling to find work. Instead, say, I am now doing great at finding work. I'm now doing great at my relationships. I now have my goals lined out. Right? The one old story that shrinks me is who I am without it. Right? Do you need it? Right? You need yourself first. Isolate the lies that you tell yourself. Okay, identify strengths that you have. Write them out. Like I said, you have a list of, identify a wish list of what you want to achieve in your life. But now identify the strengths that you have. And if you're not sure what they are, then you got work to do. Right? And then create a document. And the document just a simple thing. It's a bunch of I am statements. I have a whole whiteboard of I am statements in my office. I was looking for something that's the same size, right? And it starts off with, I'm a loving, caring husband, father, grandfather, brother, and friend to everyone I come in contact with. The second one is, I love my wife dearly. She's gorgeous and brilliant. The third one is, everybody has a voice. The fourth one is, I'm a confident person. The fifth one is, I have no opinions or complaints. So that can be your foundation for who you are. All right, so what are the strengths that you have? What are the strengths that you want to develop? What's a small action you can take? You know, maybe it's 15 minutes a day. Right? And there's all these ads out there. You can learn AI in 30 days and be an expert. But the rule is it's like 10,000 hours or something like that to become an expert in anything. I forget the exact number, but it's a ginormous number of hours to be considered the expert. But get well enough, know it well enough so you can talk to it and use it to your strength, right? And when you get a no, patience, right? That's the example. I choose patience. I'm going to take those 4 breaths that I mentioned. I'm going to have a glass of water, have patience. You are the average of the 5 people you hang around with most. Who do you think those 5 people are? On the networking side of that, everyone you know has at least 250 contacts. And you may say, well, I don't have 250 contacts. You don't. Or you do. But on the average, everybody has 250 contacts. So Stephen, let's say he's got 250 contacts. Andre has 50. But now you have 300. Right? And then, I can't remember everybody's name at the moment. But then, next thing you know, it compounds. So you take those 5 people, 250 times. There's a lot of contacts that you have the ability to reach out to if you ask for help and ask for the right questions. So one of the things that I'm very strong on is self-talk cards. I talked about it a little bit by talking in the mirror, but I encourage you to take a 3x5 index card. Who doesn't know what an index card is? Just checking. The kids in the back, like a CD or an album. So take an index card. I'm getting better every day in every way. And read it to yourself. My mind just went blank. It's something a mile, right? An inch is a cinch. I forget what the first part of it is. So just take an inch. No win's too small. Have a victory journal. Right? Create a victory journal. If you don't journal, At least create a victory journal. Hey, I got my resume redone. That's a victory journal. It's an entry. I had coffee with a friend. That's a positive interaction. That's a victory. Create a victory journal for yourself. Like every little thing. Continue to motivate yourself. Instill in your brain how good you really are. Right? So self-talk cards. Anybody have a question about anything I've talked about so far?
Inch by inch, life's a cinch.
Inch by inch, life's a cinch. There we go. Right. And so if you don't have a good feeling from yourself, borrow it from somebody else. Or if you see somebody without a smile, give them your smile. Right? A smile is a simple thing to do. Right? Gratitude. Borrow a strength. Act small. Right? I borrow strength probably every week from my coach. Like somebody will refer somebody to me and I'm like, I don't know if this is the right fit. Guy looking for employment. That wasn't anything I thought about before. I'm like, I don't know. And I talked to Angie, she's my coach, and she says, well, what do you think's going on? I said, well, from the little conversation I had with him, he's defeated. He's beating himself up. And she goes, take my courage. Go do it. I said, thank you. So feed off, be grateful for what you have, but also help others too. Right? Help others and build off of each other. Right? I was listening to Robin Byrne, who wrote the book The Secret. And one of the things that she was talking about in this podcast was be grateful for what you have. She was talking about money. She said, be grateful for all the money you have. Be grateful for the money you already earned in your past life. And then be grateful for the money you're going to receive in the future. And I was like, wow. Pull in all that strength from the past. You were successful. Right? Pull that in. You're still a very successful person. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Hadn't even thought about that. So, why is that in there? Okay, sorry, I had a brain cramp for a minute. Somebody put in an adaption animation in my video, in my slide. It wasn't me. It was my beautiful wife, without telling me, because she's my editor. Right? It goes back to people helping you. Take advantage of that. She's my editor, so evidently she thought it would be good to try and put in animation. So when you think about the next steps, there's this tropical island way out there in the distance. Looks beautiful. And you say to yourself, yeah, someday I'll go talk to that person. Someday I'll do this activity to get me in front of that person. Someday I'll go to the launch pad, work groups and workshops and get things straightened out. Someday we all have them. Right? But there's even beautiful, it's almost like a cruise liner island. It's got everything on it, and it's called Tomorrow Isle. Tomorrow I'll do it. Okay? I'm sure none of you are guilty of that, but Tomorrow I'll go talk to that person. Tomorrow I'll come to the launch pad. Next time it's in town, I'll come to the launch pad. Okay? Next time I'm in town, I'm going to come to this launch pad. Okay? Because I don't live here. I live up in McKinney, Texas. But what's one step you can commit to read towards that tomorrow aisle? Right? The journey to success isn't about waiting for the inspiration or taking that grand leap. It's a cinch by an inch. Yeah, that's it. Inch is a cinch. So, unlock consistent habits. So one of the things I want you to walk away with is, if you don't do the 3x5 card, just talk to yourself in the mirror when you're feeling down and tell yourself how great you are. Get on an ego trip with yourself. Right? You don't have to get on an ego trip with other people, because they'll be like, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I've heard that before. Yeah, Andre, yeah, I know. Yeah. Get on an ego trip with yourself. How great you are. How much you've accomplished. Right? And what the world holds for you. Right? I offer 30-minute, I call them clarity sessions, where we try and figure out, what's your why? Do you know why you do the things you do? I'll tell you my why, and I'll tell you my purpose. I'm the lighthouse that illuminates the path for my family and my clients so that they can release their emergency brake on life. If I'm in a networking event, I just say, I help people release their emergency brakes. Now, tell me more about that.
Yeah.
Right? You don't, when I'm sure you hear this all the time in the talks about networking. Don't regurgitate what you do. Blah, 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 blah. Right? Just say, this is the problem I solve. Right? Just the problem. Just the one. Right? I make software run better. I take logistics to the next level. Right? Everything runs smooth when I'm involved. Oh, what do you do? I'm a project manager. Right? I navigate the airports. Oh, what do you do? I'm a logistics manager for a restaurant company. My head's in the way. Sorry about that. Set and lock some habits. Right? Create some momentum. Like I say, 15 minutes a day. Just find something. Update the script. Update yourself. Update the way you talk to yourself. If you talk to people the way you talk to yourself, you would have no friends. Right? You'd be a hobbit or a troll, maybe. Right? You would have no friends if you talk to the people the way you talk to yourself. And we're all guilty of it. Right? We are all guilty of it. Last night, I'm going through this slide deck again in my hotel room, and I'm like, this doesn't look right. But they said, I've worked on it. It's good. Right? Went to bed praying. It's going to be a great day. People are going to be excited. Are you? I don't know, but that's my plan. Right? Rewrite the script. Up till now. Right? We're all guilty of that. Right? We're all guilty of, it's never going to happen. I'm never going to get a job. Instead, just say, up to now, I haven't gotten the right next opportunity presented to me. Right? So think about that. And then, a momentum plan. What's one habit you can do? Tom Ziglar, who's also a coach of mine and a mentor and a friend, he said the best way to change a habit is convert a bad habit to a good habit, or something like that. I can't remember the exact words. He'd probably smack me in the side of the head, since I technically work for him from time to time. So is there one habit you guys can change in the next 30 days? One mindset shift you can change? Are you committed to it? Okay, show of hands. Come on, show of hands. All right. I have to do that show of hands because my good friend not Turnell Davis, that's a football player. Turnell Walker, who was a football player, but he's a quadriplegic. And when we're in meetings, somebody will say, raise your hand, and Turnell will chime in through his mic. I'm raising my hand, you just can't see it. So I always joke with him when we're on calls together. Somebody says, raise your hand. I'm like, Turnell's raising his hand. Don't worry about it. And Turnell will start laughing. But you don't have to be great to start. But you have to start to be great. Now, setbacks, you got to plan for them, right? You got to plan for a bad day. Right? And you got to manage that. And that's where your 3x5 self-talk cards come in. Right? Manages bad days. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I was in the corporate world, somebody would come to the coffee machine, this customer's such a pain in my butt, blah, blah, blah. And I said, are you having a bad customer? He goes, no, I'm having a bad week. And I'm like, holy Toledo, I thought it was just one customer. Mm-hmm. Okay? And then I'd have a conversation with them and say, why are you having a bad week? And got to know him better. I had one guy that worked for me, and he said, I'm tired of spending 3 hours training Morgan Stanley on how to do networking. And I said, yeah, I know. I'll talk to the sales team about getting them some training. But let's go in my office for a minute. Pull up on the computer. These are real numbers now, but it's a long time ago. Pull up on the computer. Oh, look at that. They spend $7 million on support. I think we can spend 30 minutes with them. All right, let's get some perspective, but you have to have perspective of who you are and how you're going to react or respond. And you know the difference between respond and react, right? Think about it. The best analogy is the medical world. Right? When somebody says, oh, they're having a reaction, what do you think?
Negative.
Bad, right? Bad, it's bad. React, bad. But when they're responding, it's positive.
Yeah.
Positive. So don't react, respond. And sometimes responding means taking a breath. Right? Taking a breath and thinking, what's in my head? What am I thinking right now? Right? And respond to it. Be the lighthouse for everybody in your life, including yourself. Right? Shine a bright light on yourself and say, I am somebody great. And that's it.